All right, let's get right down to the brass tacks of it, my guy. The point of this documentary is to go through and really get down to what it's like being an artist in Nigeria. What is like coming from the ground up, not having the handout right at the beginning, you know what I'm saying, and having a superstar pull you on stage with them. We're talking about from the mud, get it from the ground up. Like let's like really like talk about it. So let's start super basic, my guy. How do you feel about being a new wave artist in Nigeria?
It feels hopeful. Like there's hope. You know, people usually say you can only become what you've been beheld. Like you can only become what you've seen. You know, seeing other artists become successful with music gives you hope that you can do it as well. You know, so yes, it gives me like being a new wave artist gives me hope in a sense, but also with the numerous challenges that we have, it's difficult. You know, it's difficult because things are not even working as well as they should in Nigeria, to be honest, you know.
So let me ask you that. What are the hurdles that you think are specific to Nigeria? Like if I'm an artist coming up in the States, I'm an artist coming up in Canada versus I'm an artist coming up in Nigeria. What are the situations that you guys have internalized that you feel like this is a specific to Nigeria issue?
So for one, I don't live in the US, but I'm a fan of many musicians there. And you would hear a lot of times you hear, for example, you hear an artist and they'll say he lives in ATL or Houston, or, you know, it's like America is decentralized when it comes to music. Like you can literally be in any city and make your music go around the nation, you know, but for a country like Nigeria, we've so centralized it to the point where everybody most times needs to go to Lagos. Do you understand? Like it's difficult to really do it on a big level when you are not in Lagos. Even if you do it and you eventually pop where you are right now, you would still have to travel to Lagos because that's where everybody is like focused on. Do you understand? That's one. And it takes a lot of finances to really be in Lagos. You know, not like a lot, but Lagos is very demanding because I don't know if you know, but it's overcrowded. It's a small city that's very crowded, you know, because that's the land of opportunities that we've created in Nigeria, you know. So if you're going there to stay, the cost of living is high, and a lot of the jobs are not really paying that well. Do you understand? So a lot of times if you see young artists, before they are able to divide the finances they get with their normal expenses, music would suffer. Like they won't have a lot to spend on music. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
No,
you know?
I loud and clear.
So before you pay your bills and do everything else, what you would have to spend on music would be little. And a lot of these guys who are like the gatekeepers in the industry, a lot of them would want you to pay for stuff. You know, most of the things that would help you get further, you pay for, which is normal because they have to eat, right? Yeah, but I think those are like the major hurdles for a new wave artist or a young artist like myself. It's the key thing is finance. A lot of us like young guys are super talented. Like they can make music, they can like create, but the finances are limited. So it takes finance to really pay a huge producer. It takes finance to do a huge marketing rollout, you know what I'm saying? So, and even pay all these TikTok guys if you're interested in those type of things, you know? So I think that's the major stuff.
The question I want to start with is basically, what hurdles do you feel are specific to your location that you've going through as an artist, as an upcoming artist, because you are an artist in Nigeria?
Specific to my location, I think personally, right? Many hurdles that I faced, I think I don't have anyone that is really specific to, though, because I'm in Nigerian and that's as a musician, that's the only, like it's only Nigerians that face this kind of hurdles. I think the hurdles that I face as a musician, every other person faces it across other countries. Okay. I think the only problem would be, the only thing that would be in Nigeria, and it's not specific to Nigeria, but it's not a problem in some other countries, is the structure of the Nigerian music industry is not where it ought to be. Because if it was where it ought to be, you wouldn't need to be a mainstream artist to properly make money from your music.
So what part of the structure would you say needs improving upon then? Is that like a DSP thing, or like what part?
I think it's so for example, we're in a country where rappers are really getting signed. There was a time where hip hop was like you needed a hit song feature a rapper. There was that time in Nigeria, but it is what it is now. Like hip hop was taking backseat. So we're in a country where hip hop is not thriving, and there are different reasons why. There's not just one reason, right? There are different parts to it. But now, because as a result of the fact that hip hop isn't thriving, record labels are barely signing rappers.
Okay.
That's why you see rappers singing, trying all that stuff. Like if
Right.
record labels sign the rapper, they'll sign the rapper for his lyrical ability, then turn the person to a singer.
I mean, we see it a lot. You see it a lot, and especially, I would say 2022. Like as the years go on, it's getting more and more prominent of an act. You know what I mean? Like they expect you to not just be a rapper, but now you got to be a rapper, and you have to be able to harmonize, and you have to be able to carry melodies, and so on and so forth.
You have to have extra add-ons. So yeah.
Do you think that's a bad thing, or do you think like objectively, like take yourself out of it? Do you think that the industry?
I don't think it's it. So I don't think it's a bad thing. So like it depends on where you want to. From where I stand, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, right? Because what it means is it pushes rappers to get out of their comfort zone.
Facts.
So it's not like the only problem would be people that there are some people that they can't just sing.
That's what I was gonna say. Like you say this, but you got a good voice, my guy. Like not every artist has that bag they can even jump into. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So those ones would have to depend on other artists too.
Which has kind of been the way it's been forever, right? Like you get like shout out to like rest in peace Nate Dogg. You know what I mean? Like you always had the Nate Doggs out there. You know what I'm saying? Who like carry the hooks and shit.
Exactly. But yeah, I feel sorry for people that can't sing or can't even that. I don't know how they can survive in this industry, but you have to be able to do everything.
Let's get it. All right. So what we want to do, the whole purpose of this, right, is we want to be able to frame the idea of what it's like as an upcoming artist in Nigeria as specifically as possible, right? We want to be able to paint the full picture, mostly for the other kids and shit like that who are gonna watch this. Like if I'm 16 years old, and I've been watching reaction videos and shit like that on TV, and I finally get a chance to go and see the artist that I'm listening to, actually get built and created and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I want to be able to peek into the idea behind that before somebody pops off big. You know what I mean? So we're gonna run through these real quick, and just tell me like your own personal experiences and shit. What do you how do you feel about being a new wave artist in Nigeria versus anywhere else?
Yeah, so I won't lie to you, it's kind of like mixed feelings, because generally like the music industry is built different here, like really different. You know, everybody tells you one thing, and then the reality is probably something else, you know? So sometimes you have to experience it before you just find yourself making decisions based on what everybody else tells you. So for me personally, you know, I have to have a strong belief in my art and what I stand for. And that's what kept me going all this while. You know, there have been disappointments here and there. There's always been disappointments in the music industry, because it's really a tough nut to crack. You have so many talented people, like I'm sure you know. So it's not just easy to try to say, okay, because I'm good at what I do, then it's, you know, a guarantee I'm going to make it big. You know, you have to always push harder, but you have to be unique. And I feel that's one thing that also motivates, because, you know, you have a lot of people who come today and they're gone tomorrow. Like, I can't even count. You get, but while they're there,
this better age well. We better not be looking back on this in 3 years being like, hey, you remember it?
I tell you. Yeah, and you know, because of that, you have people who think it's all about the money, it's all about the formula and everything. All that is important. And it gets more important with the economic situation in the country. You know, money is so important to remain relevant. But it can only go so far if the actual music isn't properly, you know, created, isn't properly done. So yeah,
We caught your audio went back down.
well, first of all, you know, everybody here is really about, you know, what you bring to the table beyond just the music. You know, what kind of fan base do you have already? How much have you made? You know, if you're going to push your music, you have to pay for promotion all over the place, like from radio to TV to social media influencers. There's a ton of people that you gotta pay if you really want to make it big. It's not as organic as it is in perhaps Canada or the US. You know, you could be a small artist and have a cult following if you know your music is, if it appeals to a certain number of people. And that's enough for you to, you know, talk about pushing merchandise or even make money, you know, with that kind of crowd that you're able to pull. But here in Nigeria, you know, you have to really be as complete as possible as an artist. You have to have everything, you know, down to your team, down to, you know, budgets, down to your brand. You have to be a complete artist if you really want to get as far as you probably, you know, want to. Other than that, you know, one of the good things for me personally is that anybody can blow up. probably one of the best things here. Anybody can blow up. You know, at some point your music just happens to connect to the right people, and then things align, and boom, before you know it, you're bigger than the biggest artist overnight. You get, but no, honestly, it happens a lot.
I got you.
But you have to be careful and smart once you get to that point as well. You know, so sometimes, you know, if as an artist you don't get to where you should be, you know, early enough, it's probably a good thing in some ways, because you get to build the tenacity and, you know, all the necessary skills so that when you eventually have that limelight, you know what to do with it and not just fumble it like a lot of people do.
The artist experience from the ground up, right? But the specifications of being an artist from the ground up in Nigeria, right?
Yeah.
So I basically want to kind of just start it like that. Like, how does it feel specifically being in Nigeria as a new wave artist?
All right. So the thing with like the Nigerian industry is I don't know how I can't talk about other industries because I'm here, because I basically do music here, so I know about the industry here. So being on like the come up, being an artist on the come up is like really hard for most people. Really hard for like 90% artists, that especially when you don't have like the backing or like the financial backing or like the, how I put it, like the means to connect to like enter the industry proper. Like that's the way to break into the industry here. You need to like know certain people, or you need to have like a whole bunch of money to spend. That's like the two ways. So it's never easy for like up and coming artists to like break into the industry. You have to like just keep going at it and waiting for mother luck to shine on you someday through hard work and consistency though.
So the two biggest hurdles that you think that you guys are facing would be finances and connections then?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that that's different than like an up and coming artist in America? Because that those sound pretty universally, yeah, I'm saying like that everybody feels that way, right?
Yeah, everybody does, but like I said, it's kind of like deeper than that, but I just like scratch on the surface, because here basically you got to like a whole lot of airplays, a whole lot of DJs to pay, a whole lot of like you pay. Sometimes I've been to shows like way back, and for example, they invite you to a show and you get to the show and you're supposed to perform based on the fact that nobody knows you, and they feel like, oh, the DJ is trying to hustle you, like, yo, bring so amounts and you're going to perform next, or you're going up now, or just tells you shit like there's no time, like you cannot perform now, but they invited you and it's not like you're getting paid for that event,
right?
So you're basically paying to perform your own song. So it's,
how much
the
is
industry
that,
is rugged.
What does that normally run you?
Depending on the type show, but that was way back. I don't do stuff like that anymore.
All right, so we want this to be for, like, the purpose of this is to educate and help and have a source of information for today's up and coming artists. So if I'm 18 years old, fresh out of high school and stuff like that, right? And I'm like, yo, I'm about to be a rapper, right? I want to talk about the stuff that kid is gonna have to deal with in Nigeria if he wants to take music seriously. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Like, I want to use, so like what happened before in your past experiences that's not happening right now. I'm not sure. Like, if it's not still happening, then it's not relevant for the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not for the like the brand new up and comers and shit like that. So like, as of like right now, current date, right? Current, because you're not famous. You're not one of the AAA fucking names and shit like that yet, right? We're still working on that. So that's why you're still an upcoming. But you're still, like, as of right now, you've been doing this for 10 years. You're still miles ahead from the cats who are going to be like just recording their first song tomorrow and shit like that. You know what I mean? So like, I want to try to let's focus on that. Let's focus on advice for the kids who are like literally just starting out and what you think that they're going to have to deal with. All right.
First things first, like I've told a couple of young artists, just like myself, just trying to like get into the music scene now, like especially here in Nigeria, like you have to like have a really tough skin, because they'll throw a lot of opposition your way. A lot of people will tell you you're not good enough. A lot of people just come up with like ways to not put you on, especially like when it costs them absolutely nothing. Like it's just one referral or just for them to like word of mouth for you, but they will never come true for you. They just want you to like, everybody starts to associate with you when they see you doing good on your own. That's how it works here. Like when they start seeing you doing like certain things, you're putting yourself on, you're like on certain interviews, you're on like certain shows, you're on certain songs with certain people. You'll be like, oh, so you can work with that person, then they want to work with you then. But before that, there's a whole lot of tears, there's a whole lot of like sleepless nights, there's a whole lot of like anger and stuff. Like most times I just want to fight.
See, let's talk about it. Let's talk. Give me a story. Give me a story time, right? What is a story that's happened to you like that, right? That left you being angry or upset or whatever the case, like your sleepless nights you're talking about. Like, just give me an anecdote. Give me a story. Like, yo, here's like the type of shit that we have to deal with. You don't have to name names. You know what I'm saying? Just like the scenario.
Okay. There was this one time, and there was this one time we had like this radio competition for like you submit your demos, and there's like going to be like a voting. People have to vote for like the winner of the competition through like they call into the radio station or they send text messages. Like every artist has their own specific code for voting, so you send to like your fans or people to vote for you and stuff. So I entered the competition. I heard about it on radio and like, fuck it, let me just do it. Like I entered the competition and stuff, submitted my song. That was like 7 years ago, and I submitted my song and stuff. Then the next thing, like I was expecting them to send me like my code for people to like vote for me and stuff. Just I didn't know that it was rigged. Like they already had a winner in mind. Like before the competition,
how did you find that out?
Yeah, because then like the next thing I just get text messages that they're done with voting. Like, whoa, I just submitted my song and I never got my text. And I sent you a couple of texts. They're like, chill, they'll send the code for my own voting. So I could send to like my own people to vote for me and stuff. But the code never came, and next thing they just sent me a text that you came second or so, and this is the votes. Like the person who won beat me with like about 2 votes or 3 votes. That means like random people I don't know called in to vote for me and stuff, vote for my song they just heard on radio, and I didn't even have the chance to like give it through to my guys. And of course I have more than 3 guys. I have more than 3 family members who would have voted for me and stuff. So that was like really hurtful, and I was like, wow. Then one time I was privileged to like go to the studio that actually hosted the competition. And I saw that guy, like the guy that came first. I saw him like part of like the studio. It wasn't like it was just there for the first time. So it feels like he's been here more. Like he's been working with these guys, like their pals and stuff. So it's just ready to feel.
So is that a feeling? Like is like or is that like legit? Like, nah, this is what went down.
Yeah, that's really what went down.
That's what went down. That's wild. So do you think that is that type of environment, like the type of environment where people already have predetermined contests and shit like that, is that still rampant? Is that still a thing in the hip hop culture in Nigeria right now?
Yeah, definitely. It still happens up to now. Like you still face that. Like if you go to a lot of competitions, if you opportunity to go to like a lot of competitions, like rap battles or stuff, sometimes it's rigged to favor certain people because they're like sponsors. There are certain people at the background who sponsor a certain artist to those competitions. So basically they're trying to like promote that artist, but they feel like on this competition is a bigger platform for people to see this artist. that way they're pumping money back channel to, like, I don't know, maybe the judges or somebody to just favor that artist. So it happens a lot.
Let me wrap my head around this. So you're my artist, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. We need a marketing plan for you and I. So then we set up this fake tournament, right, of people to come and submit their music, and we already know that we're picking you for the winner. That's what you're saying. Like that's the scenario. That's what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Okay. What hurdles do you feel as though are specific to you based on your location? You kind of hinted on it already, but I want to ask again more directly. As an artist in Nigeria specifically, what hurdles do you think you face that maybe an artist in the States wouldn't?
Yeah, the music industry is like man, lots of persons. Anyway, well, that's not just a Nigerian problem. I think around the world we have so many millions of artists. Yeah, but here is a different challenge. Sometimes it even ties down to who do you know? You know. So I think one of the problems I think we face as an artist, I face every day, is the music industry more like it's controlled by money. Everybody seems to, like, when you ask them for a service, it always most time boils down to what can you offer. It's almost always boils down to that. Like, everyone's like, wait, even when they say, look, I'm gonna do this for you, or you're gonna show some love. Now it's not seeking an official payment, but some love. What does that mean? So like my last song, the latest song I dropped, I had to distribute like a couple of months early so I could pitch to playlists, pitch to radio stations. I pitched to all the top radio stations in Lagos. I mailed, I did everything I could, but nobody gave a fuck about me. Nobody replied me, only one radio station. And at the end of the day, when we're having conversations, like, it still boiled down to,
what can you do for me?
This is our service. Like, how come we don't get anything for free? We get nothing for free. Be it airplay, be it, so like I think that's the major challenge. The financial aspect, the fact that we have to pay everybody to get even a little bit of exposure. And that's why being here with Steve is a very big privilege. Because I paid nothing for this.
Let's go. See, don't tell him that though, because I might start charging one day, and they're gonna be like, "Well, you ain't charged your guy." Nah, dog, trust me, it's all love. So let me ask you your opinion of that, right? Because times are the times, right? On the come up, in like early days of hip hop, it was definitely more for the love of the game. DJs played records because records were dope and it was their job to break records. They weren't necessarily looking to skim money off the top. I do think it's a pretty universal experience right now where people are monetizing whatever their role is in whatever industry.
I don't even blame no one for that. Like, I don't even blame no one for that. So that's that. It takes me back to why I say that we have to double up as an upcoming artist. We have to double up and try to make money. So at least, even because sometimes the showing of love is basically necessary, because it's more like I said, if everything is free, then everybody, gets it. So sometimes, like, you have to show what you're ready to put into this with, what you have to. So like I said,
you have to invest in yourself, right?
Yes, exactly.